Today we are taking a deep dive into GrapheneOS, and in doing so, we're going to ask a really important question about that little device in your pocket. Who is it really working for?
I mean, think about it. Is your phone truly yours? It seems like a simple question, right? But the answer is, well, it's gotten pretty complicated. When you buy a new smartphone, you expect it to work for you. But what if it's also working for someone else? Constantly sending data back home, running processes you never even approved, and just eating up your battery in the background.
And look, this isn't just some hypothetical worry. This is a direct quote from a user who felt like they'd completely lost control. Their brand new phone was overheating, the battery was draining like crazy, and it was all because of these hidden background processes and something called telemetry. And that's really just a fancy word for your phone constantly sending system and usage data back to the manufacturer without you really having a say. It's a super common story, and honestly, it's the perfect jumping-off point for this whole discussion.
So, for people who feel that exact frustration, the search for an alternative, for a way to take back control, often leads them to one name: GrapheneOS. It's a project that was basically built from the ground up to fight these exact problems.
So what is it exactly? Well, at its core, GrapheneOS is a hardened, toughened-up version of Android. It's designed from day one to be a private and secure operating system that, and this is key, still lets you run all the Android apps you know and use every single day. The point isn't to sacrifice the things you love about your phone, it's about completely changing the foundation that everything is built on. And the core philosophy here is just so direct. With GrapheneOS, privacy and security aren't features you have to turn on or dig for in the settings. They are the default, right out of the gate. It's built specifically for Google Pixel phones because they have really strong hardware security. And crucially, it ships with absolutely no Google apps or services pre-installed. That means no analytics, no telemetry being sent back to Google, period. And this isn't some side project someone forgot about. It's actively developed with constant updates and security patches.
Okay, so if it doesn't come on a phone you can buy in a store, how do you actually get it? Well, that brings us to the installation process, which is a really important part of the whole GrapheneOS experience.
Yeah, switching to GrapheneOS isn't like just downloading a new app from the store. It's a deliberate, conscious choice to completely replace the operating system on your phone. The good news is the project gives you official, secure tools to walk you through it, making sure it's all done correctly and safely. The whole journey is actually pretty streamlined. You use their official web installer, which basically holds your hand through the process. Once it's installed, you boot into the fresh OS, go through a really simple setup, and then you get to the single most critical step of the entire thing. You have to relock the bootloader.
And just so we're clear, this is not a friendly suggestion. The official GrapheneOS project is crystal clear on this. An unlocked bootloader basically leaves the front door to your phone's security wide open. Locking it is what restores all of that hardware-backed security, making sure the operating system is authentic and hasn't been messed with. It is an absolutely non-negotiable final step. So, once it's all installed and properly secured, the big question is, what's it actually like to use GrapheneOS every day? I mean, does all this intense privacy and security come at a cost? Does it make the phone harder to use? These are always the big three concerns for anyone thinking about making the switch. You want your privacy for sure, but you still need your phone to, well, be a phone. You need your apps to work, you want your camera to take great pictures, and you absolutely need your battery to last through the day. All right, let's tackle these one by one. First, battery. A ton of users in the community actually report that their battery life is better than it was on the stock OS. Why? Because all those hidden services aren't secretly draining power anymore. Okay, what about the camera? The quality is identical. You're using the exact same hardware, and you can even install the official Google Pixel camera app if you want all the same software magic. Now for the big one, apps. Most of them just work, no problem. But what about those apps that seem to need Google to function? Well, this is where GrapheneOS has a really elegant solution. It's called Sandboxed Google Play. Think of it as a compatibility layer that lets you install Google Play, but not as some all-powerful core part of the system. Instead, it runs as a regular, sandboxed app, just like your calculator or your weather app. And this really gets to the heart of the difference. On a normal phone, Google Play is woven into the very fabric of the operating system. It has the highest level of privilege. On GrapheneOS, it's put in a box, a sandbox. It gets no special treatment. You control its permissions for things like location, network access, contacts, just like you would for any other app you download. The entire power dynamic is flipped on its head. And that shift in power, it's not just about Google Play. It's a philosophy that runs through the entire operating system, giving you a level of control that is you just don't see it on mainstream devices.
This is the real reward for making the switch. It's not just about what GrapheneOS takes away, like the spying and the bloatware. It's about what it gives you. Truly fine-grained, granular control over what every single app on your phone is allowed to do.
Okay, take the network permission. This is so simple but so powerful. It's a toggle switch for every single app. So if you have an app that has zero business being online, like, say, a simple calculator app, you just flip the switch and its internet access is completely cut off. It can't send or receive any data whatsoever.
Then you've got something called storage scopes. Normally, when an app asks to see your files, it's an all-or-nothing kind of deal, right? With storage scopes, you can say, okay, photo editing app, you can see this one folder with my vacation pictures, but you cannot see anything else on my phone. You are in charge, granting access on a case-by-case basis.
And this control even extends to physical security. With the USB-C port control, the second you lock your phone, the data pins on the charging port are disabled. That means you can plug it into some random public charger at an airport without any fear of juice jacking or a hacker tries to steal your data through the cable. Your phone will only accept power and nothing else.
So, with all these incredible features, we kind of arrive at the final question. After understanding what GrapheneOS is, how it all works, and what it offers, is it the right choice for you?
Because ultimately, it's a trade-off. It really is. It's about sitting down and deciding what you value more. The super easy, seamless convenience of a standard phone right out of the box, or the deep, unparalleled control over your own hardware and data that GrapheneOS gives you.
So when you put them side by side, the choice becomes a little clearer. A stock OS gives you a solid security baseline and a totally seamless experience from the moment you turn it on. GrapheneOS, on the other hand, gives you hardened security, that granular control, and a true privacy-first model, but it requires you to do the installation yourself and be a little more hands-on. There's really no single right answer here. It depends entirely on what you prioritize.
And in the end, it really comes back to why people decide to make this switch in the first place. This user wasn't just looking for a cool new feature. They were actively pushing back against a trend. They felt like their devices were being filled with stuff they never asked for, and they went looking for an alternative that put them firmly back in the driver's seat.
And that really leaves us with one final question to think about. In a world where our devices are more powerful and more connected than they have ever been, what does it really mean to own them? Is it just about holding the physical device in your hand, or is it about having the absolute right to control the software it runs, the data it creates, and the connections it makes with the outside world? GrapheneOS offers one possible answer, but the choice, as always, is yours.